Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely Stream Deck. For more information about the Stream Deck, the link is in the description below.
Good evening, everyone. I'm sure you've missed me. Well, not me, but you've missed the league. Welcome back to Apex Online Racing Hyper Energy F3 League. This is time for round number 10 of the season 19. We have only 3 rounds to go, and we could see the championship being crowned actually tonight, which is absolutely awesome and makes this race, well, the one that you should really want, obviously. Seems like I have some issues, at least from the YouTube side, which is perfect. But otherwise, we are obviously back at the circuit Gilles, Villeneuve, and you can see the first race took place here in 1978, and obviously this is one of the maybe even fan favorites tracks. It's one of the tracks where you can see a lot of action, a lot of overtaking as well, 6 straights, a lot of chicanes, and this infamous wall of champions, or champion of the walls as some driver called it. 35 laps of the race obviously, and the longest flat out section has a length of 1190 meters even. 100 meters would be really short. Anyways, the tires, obviously soft, mediums, and hards. Usually, as it's the case with with that kind of tracks, we have the softest allocation possible. So C3, C4, and C5. That's it for the introduction. And let's actually see what is going on down at the track. I've said that we can see the champion being crowned tonight, and well, that is what can happen tonight. I'm just having fun with the controls, and we are back. So basically, talking about the champion being crowned tonight, that obviously is the possibility for I've lost his name, obviously, for Rainbow. He's now down in 11th in qualifying. He didn't even set any time, but his teammate AM is now in first, 1 minute 8.7. Obviously, lots of different strategies right now. You can see that AM and Tudor have already started their laps on softs, while Flash has done his best lap on mediums, and MDCO, Lenny, Black Panther, and Flexus Marcy have all done their laps on hards. We have probably the smallest grid this season. A lot of drivers couldn't return for the Canadian race, but hopefully they will be back next week, because, well, it's obviously only it will only be two rounds to go then, which obviously is the moment that you want to make a move, you want to, you know, show your worth, whatever. Also, the Constructors' Championship fight, I guess it's not over yet, although McLaren seems to have gotten better during the last few races, because they've had a 1-2 finish 2 weeks ago, and they've had a almost 1-2 finish in Germany. Well, 2 weeks ago, actually. That was, so 3 weeks ago they've had this 1-2 that has stayed with them, but they've had a 1-2 2 weeks ago in Germany as well, but it was taken away from penalties for corner extending. Actually, there were a lot of inquiries on that, especially created by MDCO, who wasn't really happy with that 4th place, but it helped him to cut down the championship lead that Rainbow had from 77 points to 74 points, which is still a lot, as you can imagine. And basically, MDCO needs to win tonight in order to stay in the game, stay in the championship fight. But we all know that it's really tough. But Rainbow told us that he didn't really practice all the week long, all the 2 week long, all the fortnight long even. Which can make things tricky for him. This is a tricky track, as I've said earlier. A lot of straights, a lot of chicanes, a lot of walls. And as you can see by Malkian, he even got into that wall of champions. So you can see it is tricky here. 35 laps of the race, obviously. So a long way to go and a lot of possibilities to actually make those mistakes here, especially this wall of champions, but not only wall of champions. You can see with Tudor, we're now going through turns 3 and 4. This wall is also very close to the outside edge of the circuit. Meanwhile, Pantaleev sets the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute of the qualifying, 1 minute 8.6. So he finally overtakes AM and pushes him down to second. He still is there. Tudor is in third and Fox is in fourth, Oxygen fifth, and Flash is sixth. He's actually, I think, coming out, or is he coming into the pit lane? I think he's coming out onto the track. Well, I don't know, maybe not, because the game seemed to just casually push him back into the pit lane, into the pit garage. MDCO starts a quick lap, and I'm trying to see maybe a Mercedes is going to finish their lap. That will be Malkian, who's actually doing that. 1 minute 10, 1 minute 11. That's going to be a slow lap. Yes, 1:13.6. But just behind him, we have Black Panther. Black Panther told me that he's feeling a little bit unwell. He will try to race tonight, but let's see if he basically said that if he feels a little bit more unwell, he will just pull into the pit lane. So hopefully he doesn't have that kind of feeling I was talking about. AM also starts another lap, so let's maybe cut to a Renault of Leto. Leto didn't race in Germany 2 weeks ago, but because of some steering wheel issues, but he's now fixed them. So thankfully he's back with us, and his best lap 1:31.8. That's not a good lap, obviously, but he will certainly improve. Oxygen is finishing a lap, but that should be an out lap, and MDCO is coming round to finish his attempt on hards, but that was a slow attempt, and he's starting another one. One of the Mercedes coming round once again. That's Malkian actually improving by 0.4 of a second. 0.4, that will give him 1 position. But that was a big improvement in third sector, and he goes into P4, but still 0.4 down on Tudor. We have a sole racing point tonight of Fire coming round the start-finish straight, but he only starts another lap, so maybe Hueni who actually comes into the pit lane. Well, let's see, and what is AM doing, because he seems to be actually going slowly. He came into the pit lane as well. Flash, meanwhile, is he coming in? No, he's starting another lap. Very good and very nice. Is Leto finishing this lap? I think he is, and he is going quite quick. At least he's improving on his previous best effort, which is a little bit bad. But now 1:10.6, and he's up in 12th, although on hard tires, as you can imagine. Oxygen, that might be a good lap, and he goes up into P3, just ahead of Tudor and just behind AM. Now we can see what is MDCO doing on those hards once again, and he improves. He overtakes his teammate, but he's still 7th, although he's on those hard tires, not on mediums. He's on hards, you know, and he's on used hards, which makes him a bit of a threat for the win tonight. He has to do his best in order to stay in the championship fight, but we will talk about that later on. Fire now sets the leaderboard on fire and goes into P1 as one of the Renault comes around, and that was Fox, who stays in 7th. Now let's see what about M Flash is actually coming into the pit lane, and he has a Ferrari of Tudor behind him. Well, they are not coming to the pit lane, but starting another quick laps, as you can see. And then we have another Renault, that will be Leto, who's maybe coming to the pit lane. No, he's starting another quick lap. Okay. The Oxygen, I think he's now coming to the pit lane. Yes, indeed. MDCO, is he on a quick lap? Is he coming in? We still have 5.5 minutes to go, and I think he is coming to the pit lane. Yes, indeed, and he's coming really hot. Meanwhile, Pantaleia, the only Toro Rosso tonight as well. He's coming to... No, he's actually trying to start another lap. And let's see what will happen to Fire, because he's just behind them. I think Fire is actually coming into the pit lane as well. Yes, he is. And Fox is coming round on those soft tires. And he spun. And he spun, unfortunately, out of the Wall of Champions. So that makes him the second victim of that wall. Although he didn't hit the Wall of Champions. He hit another wall, but it still probably hurt his ego the most. He'll have to come round. He's still in 7th, though. Let's see what about Tudor, because he was on a quick lap, but he's coming into the pit lane. And maybe time for Rainbow, who's coming out finally on his out lap, but he's only on an out lap, as you can imagine. Leto maybe improving a bit. Yes, he jumps into 12th, and Black Panther starts another lap. So Fox, obviously, he is on a slow lap because he doesn't have half of his front wing, although he's trying his best to be as quick as possible. Where is Pantaleia? Pantaleia is actually coming round, but he is losing 0.2 of a second. We have a yellow flag in Sector 2. Maybe that is someone, I don't know whom that was, but okay, never mind that. Let's see another Mercedes then. That will be Malkin maybe, but they are all both Mercedes are on out laps, so that would be sensible, given that Kagan Slimanoglu has joined, which is awesome because he thought that he couldn't really join, but thankfully he is joining us, so we'll have 17 drivers hopefully for the race. Mercedes, as I've said, they were on out laps, so they're coming in, but this guy, he is the most important guy right now on mediums. Rainbow, the championship leader, what will be his time? 1 minute 9.1, but that was an invalidated lap time, which is not very good, as you can imagine. Same as Flex's Marcy, who still is in 11th. But Black Panther jump into P6 on the medium tires as well. And we have one of the Williamses coming round, but he was only on an outlap. So maybe Pantaleia, because that is an important question. No, he's actually coming to the pit lane. So still Fire is at the top of the leaderboard. He set the leaderboard on fire. Pantaleia is in P2 and AM is in P3. And now I'm looking for a Mercedes trying to set a good lap time. That will be Malkin, who's coming into the final chicane. Good one. He's not having problems there. Also using this short line to get as quickly to the finish line as possible, and he stays in 7th. Only 67 thousandths of an improvement. But when he is improving by much, and he jumps into 6th, only 11 thousandths of a second behind Tudor, although on harder tires because he is on mediums. Black Panther came into the pit lane, so maybe let's see what will Flex's Marcy do from here. Pantaleia has led the session, unfortunately, but Flex's Marcy stays in 12th. What about Rainbow? He still is 15th, so another invalidated lap time. MDCO on mediums jumps into P1, 1 minute 8 seconds 6 and 0.6. And Oxygen stays in 5th. Let's see what about Fire, because he's on an outlap. But maybe more importantly, let's see what is going on with Sky Kartoffel, because he seems to be on a quick lap, and he actually is leading a train, of course, who will finish that lap. I think the next one to come around will be Flash, but he's on an outlap, and also maybe Fox will be the next one. But Sky Kartoffel is more important at the moment, coming from the final corner. And what will be his time? He jumps into 10th. Very good lap time indeed. And Fox and Flash, they are starting another quick laps. Just behind them, we have a Mercedes of Huenya, I believe. And he is starting another lap, because this one was kind of slow, I think. Next, Ferrari of Jack and Tudor spans around out of the final corner, so that makes him the 3rd victim of that chicane. And let's see what is AM doing, because that's not AM, that's Rainbow, who finally sets a lap time, but he's still in 12th. We have a Alfa Romeo coming round. That was Oxygen, but still on a slow lap. And then we have MDCO, I believe, coming round on medium, starting another lap. Flex's Marcy has retired from the session, actually. He hit the wall. I think he's hit the wall out of turn 5. And Rainbow has retired as a Ferrari was cutting the corner. And because you've seen that MDCO also had a big problem. So a lot of things are happening at the moment. Let's see what is happening with Flash at the moment, who's coming around the final chicane. Malkian has retired. MDCO has retired. Flash jumps into P9 on the softs. And Fox, what is his time? He starts another lap. What about AM? He starts another lap as well. Same as Hueni, I believe. Same as Jackal Jack. No, Jackal Jack jumped into P10. Leto still stays in 16th though. And the Black Panther is 8th. Let's see, what about Sky Kartoffel? No, he actually has finished this qualifying session, but Oxygen, is he improving? No, no improvement from him. Let's see, what about Fire, because he's still in... I'm very sorry indeed. And let's see, what about Fire, because he's coming to the pit lane. Okay, he is in the pit lane, and I think Tudor is coming to the pits as well. Yes, he is, because he has some front wing damage. What about Flash? Or what about Fox? I think he's on a slow lap, so he will come into the pit lane as well, I imagine, but I don't know. Let's wait and see. Just behind him, you can see we have AM and Fox. Yes, he's coming to the pit lane. So AM, this is a very important lap because he actually can get the pole position right now, but he's slow out of the chicane, and yes, he stays in 4th. We're still waiting for Leto, maybe? Maybe he is going to improve by a bit, but only by a bit, because he's still losing, what, a second to the next fastest car. Leto will start from 16th, unfortunately. That was a really poor qualifying from him. Whew, that was a lot to take, I think. But let's see that Fire takes pole position by almost 2 tenths over MDCO. Pantaleev is in 3rd, although we can see that MDCO was on mediums. Pantaleev in 3rd, AM in 4th, Oxygen 5th, Tudor 6th, 27th, Black Panther 8th, Flash 9th, and Jackal Jack in 10th, and Malkin, Sky Kartoffel, Fox, Championship leader Rainbow in 14th, Flex's Mossy in 15th, and Leto in 16th. You can see a bit of mix-up in strategy. You can see that, what? 6 drivers out of the top 10 will start on softs, and 4 of them will start on mediums, which makes the race interesting. I think, at least I hope it will make the race interesting strategy-wise. We're talking about the championship situation earlier on, so just to remind you, Rainbow is the championship leader. He has actually won the previous 4 races in the USA, in China, in Australia, and in Germany. But he will have it hard today, I think. 174 points for him, and he has a 74-point lead over MDCO. MDCO basically needs to win tonight because he wants to have what, 51 points. Wait a minute. So basically he needs to have I don't know how to say that. Okay, I know. Basically Rainbow needs to have at least 52-point advantage tonight after tonight's race over MDCO in order to be crowned the champion. So basically, MDCO needs to make up 23 points tonight. That's a lot, actually. That is, 24 points even. That's a lot, actually, and basically a point scored by Rainbow is enough. A point, maybe 2 points if MDCO sets the fastest lap, but that's for later. Jackal Jack sits in 3rd. He's 85 points down on Rainbow, so he's out of the championship equation. Then we have Zirian in 4th on 80 points, and he is 9 points behind Jackal Jack. Fire is in 5th, but he is on 59 points. So he is all 115 points behind Rainbow and 21 behind Zirian. Then Flash in 6th on 48, Partek in 7th on 46, but Partek is not taking part in the league. Leto is in 8th on 45 points. AM is in 9th on 36, and Flex's Marcy is in 10th on 27 points. Almost all of the drivers have scored points this season, apart from XOF, the last main driver. No, also Dino. They both have not scored any points, unfortunately, this season, but they have the possibility to do so. Let's see the tire strategies, obviously. So as I've said, 6 of the top 10 guys will start on softs, 4 of them will start on mediums, but then all the way to Leto everyone will start on mediums, apart from Kagan Suleimanoglu, who will start on softs as well. So did I say that everyone from Malkian to Leto will start on softs? I think yes, but they will obviously start on mediums. This is how it all looks. Fire ahead of MDCO. Then we have Pantaleev, AM, Oxygen, Tudor, Hueni, Black Panther, Flash, and Jackal Jack rounds off the top 10. Then Malkian, Sky Kartoffel, Fox, Rainbow, Flex's Mossy, Leto, and Kagan Suleimanoglu. We can see the champion. We can see the champion being crowned tonight, but will we see that? 5 lights are on. And the Canadian Grand Prix is on the way. I think I've lost one car, but maybe I am wrong. Fire already covers MDCO, so he is in the lead, but MDCO is in 3rd, and AM came actually up into 3rd. Yes, Pantaleev didn't take part in the race, I think, but he's down in 11th, I think. Yes, he's not taking part in the race. That's why I've lost one car, but now AM runs wide, so Oxygen and Tudor take his place. Also Wenny, so he lost, what, 3 places, although AM cuts back there, and he is actually back in 4th, because Tudor also ran horribly wide in turn number 6. Wenny and Black Panther are still fighting for 5th. They are trying to stay there, going side by side, but Wenny stays in 5th. Meanwhile, MDCO is only 0.3 of a second behind Fire. We have a migrating host. That is Tudor, actually, who's out of the race, or as you can see, his the AI has taken over his car. So yeah, you can see that the session is already having a lot of fun with us, but that is not the point. Fire is the real leader right now. MDCO is just behind him. Then we have Oxygen and AM, who's trying to retake that lead. Then we will have we'll have Hueni, Flash, Black Panther, Jackal Jack, Skycroffel, and Malkian in the top 10. Where is Rainbow, actually? Rainbow is in 14th. He hasn't made any progress on the first lap, and that is not good for him. Obviously, he will overtake the AI car of Tudor, so he will go up into 13th, but that's still not good for him. MDCO, he is in 2nd at the moment, so in theory, that's all good for Rainbow, but if MDCO takes the lead, then he has a little bit of a problem, I suspect. But that's not the debate at the moment, because AM 0.2 of a second behind Oxygen. This is a good fight going to happen, I'm sure. Just behind them, the Ferrari of Jackal Jack trying to go down the inside of Black Panther into turn 10. He tried that, but Black Panther has superior traction on exit, and I think he also can tuck behind Flash on the straight, although Jackal Jack seems to be faster on that straight. Oh, there is a big contact! Someone lost their front wing. I think that was Black Panther, and yes, Black Panther is already coming to the pit lane. Also, Rainbow is now in 13th. He will be in 12th, and he is just behind Kagan Suleimanoglu. He's on mediums as well. Meanwhile, AM finally has made a move on Oxygen. He's up into I think he's up into third. Yes, he is, and Oxygen seems to have some issue with the front wing. No, that was just my problem there, I think. Black Panther takes on medium tires, and he comes out in the final position, obviously, because after this early pit stop. A lot of clouds have come over the Ile Notre Dame, which isn't the most encouraging sight. Maybe we will see some rain, although I'm not a fan of wet races in F1, but maybe we will see. I don't know. Where is Hueni? Hueni is just behind Oxygen, so Hueni is also in that podium fight. And we can see some position changing. Rainbow attacking Kagan Suleimanoglu around the outside in turn 10. He made that move stick. Also flexes Marcy ahead of Malkian. So Rainbow is close to the points at the moment. Is he going to take that 10th position on this straight. No, he isn't. But there was a lot of sort of changing lanes there. We can see that Texas Mossy is already ahead. Meanwhile, Kagan Suleymanoglu, he is around the outside into turn 1. He has overtaken Rainbow. Yes, he has. Can I re-invite Tudor? No, I can't. I'm sorry, Tudor, but I couldn't. I can't invite people at the moment, and that obviously requires too much work from me to run while running the stream. But anyways, coming back to the fight, you can see that Rainbow is in 12th still. Meanwhile, Jackal Jack just behind Flash. What about MDCO? He's just 0.8 of a second behind Fire, which is good for MDCO and bad for Rainbow. AM is 1.2 seconds behind MDCO and 1.4 seconds ahead of Oxygen. Fwenny is just behind Oxygen, so this is a fight happening at the moment. Is Fwenny going to make a move on Oxygen? I think with ease, and he is ahead of the Alfa Romeo. He just before the chicane even. He is now in 4th place. What about Jackal Jack just behind Flash? Is he going to make that move as well? I don't think so. Meanwhile, Kagan Suleymanoglu, maybe he is going to make a move on Malkin, but no, he is too far behind. Then we have Rainbow behind him and 2 Renaults of Leto and Fox. Maybe Fox will score his first points of the season. Tudor is obviously out of this race, and Kagan is the first driver to get a time penalty. 3 seconds time penalty for cutting the corners. Black Panther sets the fastest lap of the race. I am not surprised by that, because he is A, in cleaner, and B, on the freshest tires. When he sets the fastest lap, and we can see the rain. The rain drops already. So now MDCO, is he trying to go down the inside on Fire? No, he's not. He has a lot more grip than Fire at the moment, but that will change in a second, because we will have rain, ladies and gentlemen. Kagan Suleymanoglu and Malkin, they are fighting for P10, and Kagan is up there in 10th on those soft tires, and Rainbow is fancying a move as well, but no, he's way too far behind. Meanwhile, Alexis Marcy and someone came into the pit lane. That's Kagan Suleymanoglu. MDCO, meanwhile, made a move on Fire on that start-finish straight. It is raining hard now. I think not hard, but it's raining quite significantly now, and maybe the intermediates are a good call. Let's see. Let's watch the time set by Kagan Suleymanoglu, because he is on those. He is the first one to take on intermediates. Tudor has finally joined us, which is awesome, obviously, but he will be down in 14th. AM is just behind Fire, so maybe AM is going to take some part in that wet race. Who knows? Meanwhile, Rainbow is up into P10 at the moment, so he is now in the points. Now he's losing what, 24 points to MDCO at the moment. 24 points lost to him mean that he will be what, 50 points ahead of MDCO after this race, which means that he won't be the champion tonight. He still needs to score 2 more points. Flash and Oxygen fighting for P5, and Flash is ahead of Oxygen. Meanwhile, Malkin retakes P10. No, he doesn't. And I think he was touched by Leto. That's why he lost his car there in the chicane. Fox and Leto also have exchanged positions, so now it's Fox who leads the Renault charge on this in this race. And where is Kagan Suleymanoglu? He's already 2.7 seconds behind Black Panther, which seems like good pace. But the question is, is it too early for intermediates? I think it still is too early for those, frankly, but I may be wrong. AM, he still is using the DRS, which is a good indicator of that, of the situation, that the slicks are still quite okay, although we could have seen that all of those 3 guys were horribly wide in turn 8. Also, we can see now that Fire is wide in turn 10. Someone has crashed. Someone has spun the car. That was Leto, so he has lost the front wing as well. Meanwhile, IM is trying to retake 2nd place from Fire, and he has the DRS, and he is up into 2nd. MDCO already gets a time penalty, so he is he is in the lead, but he has some problems as well. Rainbow is just behind Sky Kartoffel there, but you can see that everyone is still using the DRS, which means that it's still too early for Inters, and you can see that Kagan Sleimanoglu is already 7 seconds behind Black Panther, which basically means that Kagan was too early to change these tires. Meanwhile, Jack is ahead of Flash, but it's Oxygen who's losing the positions as well. Malkian has taken on Inters, and Leto has taken on Wets. Wow! That is an interesting decision. I knew that the Inters are too early to be good, but Wets? Wow. Sky Kartoffel and Oxygen are fighting as well, so teammates fighting for P8, and I think that will be Sky Kartoffel who is ahead of Oxygen. Rainbow is also trying to make a move there. He is up into 9th, maybe he will be even up into 8th. Is he going to take that place? I think he is. So now it's Rainbow on a move, and Leto has left the session. I think another crash. Yes, he has hit the wall out of turn 1. AM has lost a position to MDCO, and now you can see Fire getting a 5-second time penalty. Everyone is coming to the pit lane, so maybe that is the moment for intermediates. I think it really is a good moment for those, although we have a couple of cars staying out. Flex is Mossy, Rainbow, who else? Sky Kartoffel and Fox, so top 4 is staying out. The rest of them, they are taking on intermediates, although looks like, yeah, these guys are too early in the pit lane. But yes, everyone has taken on intermediates, and you can see that Hwenny has jumped AM, so there is a change in the fight for the podium, although Hwenny runs wide into turn 2, and AM tries to send it down the inside into turn 3, but he was covered by Hwenny. Let's go back to Rainbow and Flex's Mossy. I was going to say that Flex's Mossy, when Rainbow took the 8th place, he was in the championship winning position, because had he scored 4 points to 25, scored by MDCO, he would have only lost 21, so he will be 53 ahead, and 53 ahead is good for him. Is he going to make a move on Flex's Marcy now into 10? And yes, he is. Although Flex's Marcy turned in on him, he is really drifting around that corner, but he has lost the place, and there was a contact between them. So you can see how slippery it is. Are they using DRS? No, they aren't, because the DRS is turned off. And you can see that MDCO is already behind them, so they have lost a lot of time by staying out. Wow, this is going to be even worse for them. Fire gets a 3-second time penalty for cutting corners. So now let's see where this slot will come out. You can see that MDCO is, what, 2 seconds ahead of Fire, and Hwenny is in 3rd. He's still ahead of AM. Then we have Jackal Jack, Flash in 6th. And who will be 7th? This is Oxygen. Yes, Oxygen is in 7th. But the next one, Kagan Sleimanoglu, he's very far behind. So Rainbow is in 8th, ahead of Flex's Marcy, because he's jumped in the pit lane. And that means that Rainbow, with that P8, is now the champion of F3. But still, there is still a long way to go. You can see that's only lap 10 out of 35. So we're not even at the 3rd distance. There's still a lot of things that can happen, and I hope that you'll stay here with me. I hope that you'll be as excited as I am. I think maybe I'm not. I don't. Maybe it doesn't look like I'm that excited, but I really am. And we have a yellow flag in Sector 2 who has gone round. I think that's Black Panther, actually. But I may be wrong. Rainbow was already 0.6 of a second behind Oxygen, so he seems to have good pace on those intermediates. AM gets a 3-second time penalty. Now I have a big question. Is this rain going to change into maybe a heavy rain? Or is it going to dry out because it's still, what, 2/3 of the race? More than 2/3 of the race left tonight, which opens up a lot of possibilities in terms of weather. Changing. Flex's Marcy ran wide there, so he's lost a bit of time. Hwenny gets a time penalty as well. A lot of drivers will get these, because they will be running horribly wide for the first couple of laps. So yes, Rainbow has caught up to Oxygen. but he is not making a move. Although you can see now that AM, he is just behind Wenny. AM is now a constant podium challenger. You can remember that he started the season without scoring any points for the first 6 rounds. I think he scored his first points in China, which was round number 7, I think. Yes, China was the 7th race, and since China, he's basically been really consistent. He's been consistently at the top of the field. I mean, he was on the podium in Australia. He was almost on the podium in Germany after a penalty has stripped him of that podium, but he's still there. And he is now trying to retake 3rd from Wenny. You can also see that Rainbow is trying his best to maybe retake 7th place, to be a little bit more confident, to be a little bit more in the good in terms of his championship fight, because if he takes 7th, he will take 6 points, and these 6 points compared to 25 scored by MDCO will be more than enough to take the championship. Meanwhile, I see that Huen is also coming to fire. I will try to see who has the fastest lap of the race at the moment. That is Black Panther, 1 minute 11.8, because he was the only one to change tires onto other set of dry tires. That's why he set that fastest lap of the race, and he will get it, I think. But that's obviously not worth any point for him. So yes, 25 points only for MDCO tonight. Hueni is just behind Fire, and he is way quicker than him. Also, AM is way quicker than him. Rainbow is, let's say, quicker than Oxygen, but he's too far behind to make a move on him. So he's still in 8th. Although that, as I've said, that 8th place is good for him because he will take 4 points, which is only 21 less than MDCO, and 74 points minus 21 will give us 53, which is 2 points more than he needed tonight in order to clinch the championship this season. So let's still wait, but his championship is pretty much wrapped up. When he's still half a second behind Firefox, gets a 3-second time penalty. I think the race obviously got less chaotic after the rain has arrived. This is normal in the wet, you know. I was talking with AM, I think on Friday, about the wet races, and he told me that basically wet races are a big psychological battle, and you know, he's pretty much right there, because there is no DRS, so you can obviously make up that much time on the straights, and you just need to take your chances. You need to overtake people when they make mistakes, just like Oxygen, who ran wide in turn 10, and now Rainbow seems to be alongside him, and he's taken that place, so he is up in the 7th place. Leto tells me that the electricity went out in his house, which obviously made him to retire from the race. So like someone switched the master switch off, as Martin Brundle said about one of the Daniel Ricciardo's problems with Red Bull Racing in 2018. But as I was talking about it, Rainbow made the move on Oxygen stick. He's now up in 7th, which is even better for his championship chances tonight. That's 6 points compared to 25, so that's only 19 less. That means that he will leave tonight's race, though he'll leave Canada with a 55-point margin over MDCO, and as I've said, that's more than enough. Meanwhile, Fire, he must have gone wide there in turn 10. That has left Hueni the opportunity to take that place, and well, he's done that with ease. Although I think that Fire is still trying to maybe fight back on them. There is AM just behind them, and there is Jackal Jack as well. So, you know, there is still some possibility that we will see a big fight for the podium. Lap 15 at the moment. MDCO is already 2.8 seconds ahead of Hweni, so he's basically just trying to run away and win this race with a good margin. I think that will be his first win of the season, maybe second, I don't remember, but I know that it won't give him anything in terms of the championship fight at the moment. 6 tenths between Hweni and Fire, and AM is still there, half a second behind Fire as well. Jackal Jack got a penalty this time round. Rainbow is 6.6 seconds behind Flash, and the question is does he have the pace to maybe try and catch him? I think he has. So 6th place could be on the cards for him. Meanwhile, Jackal Jack is just behind AM, but we're back to that psychological war as what it was called by AM. As I was talking with him on Friday. So basically, you're not going to make up a lot of times in straights. You have to earn your overtakes. You have to be way quicker. You have to take your chances. You have to take these places where they... You have to take these positions where they just, you know, fall into your hands. When your rival makes a mistake, and so on and so on. Meanwhile, 2.2 seconds between Hweni and MDCO. I think that Hweni actually has some pace to maybe fight the Williams. I think he has on this wet track. You can see that it's not getting wetter. The rain is not getting bigger. So maybe this is the only level of rain that we are going to see tonight, which means that we'll stay on those intermediates. The question is, are they durable enough to stay in good shape for the rest of the race? We still haven't reached the halfway point tonight, so we have still a long way to go. You know, it's lap 6 already, only. I should have said. AM goes a little bit wide in turn 10, but that was all in control because Jackal Jack is too far behind to make that move. There, a lot of penalties are in, and Black Panther has retired from the race, although we have a safety car. And where has... Oh, I see. So, Black Panther has actually crashed out of turn 4. Okay, so that is an opportunity for Hweni, for Fire, for AM, for everyone to pit and get new intermediate tires. Actually, Jackal Jack has gone on to wets. Brave strategy, but I think it's his mistake, and I believe it's... Yeah, I think it's his mistake. AM, he is now up into 3rd. Jackal Jack is in 4th. Fire, he's lost a lot of time. I know why, because he got a penalty, obviously, for speeding in the pit lane. He's behind Fox, who has stayed out, so maybe it's Fox's chance to take points tonight. Where is Rainbow? Rainbow is in 8th, back in 8th, so it's still good for his championship chances. Flex's Marcy 9th, Oxygen 10th, Kai against Suleiman Oglu 11th, and Tudor, he has stayed out, I think. Sky Kartoffel 13th, Malkian 14th, and Leto, well, Leto's out of the race, as we all know, because the electricity went out in his house. That's what he told me. 6 seconds behind MDCO, and he's already caught up to the safety car, which means that he won't have the possibility to take the new set of intermediate tires, so he will be slower than Hweni. A lot more than what? Than he was previously. Is MDCO coming to the pit lane? Obviously he's not, because it's not the moment to do so. So yeah. That's not what we wanted. That's not what he wanted to see, this safety car, because A, the lead is basically nothing at the moment. B, he's on older tires. C, maybe he's going to have to pit again because there's still half a race to go. I'm sorry, half a race. That's not how you're supposed to say that. In terms of Jackal Jack, because he's on wet tires, I mean, usually I would say, you know, they are going to just wear out very quickly. But maybe there is a harder race coming. So I'm not going to say that's completely stupid decision. Unless, I don't know, unless the track dries out completely. We have Fox in 6th, so he's the next one who hasn't pitted. And we have Tudor. So 3 drivers have stayed out as the safety car came out, and the rest of them have pitted. Kagan Süleymanoglu gets another penalty. He's in 11th, I think that is 3rd, I think, something like that. MDCO is just behind them. We're still waiting for the safety car to come into the pit lane, and I think we will wait for another lap, because everyone is just close, but Leto's AI car is still not close enough. So we are staying for another lap behind the safety car. And we are waiting. Is the rain going to get harder, or is it going to maybe dry out? Is it going to change at all? And what's going to change? This is maybe not as exciting as it was a few minutes ago, but it's very tense, I think. And that's what we want to say. I'm sorry, I'm going to take a sip of water because I haven't done that for at least 90 minutes because I've forgotten about water for a few minutes before. But I'll come back with a fresher throat, ideal for the restart. Okay, my throat feels fresher. Oxygen got a 5-second time penalty, probably for just track extending, but we all know that the game is way harsher under the safety car. The question is Oxygen going to come into the pit lane in this race? I don't think so, because he's been in the pit lane and during the safety car period. Is the safety car coming in this lap? Yes, it is. So we are going to race. We will have the final 16 laps of the race, hopefully without the intervention of Bernd Mailander. Thank you, Bernd, for coming out, but that's not your moment. So the safety car disappears, and is MDCO already going? I think it's way too early, because he will catch the safety car way ahead of that first safety car line, let alone the start-finish straight. So it's still, he can still slow down. We are still waiting for the safety car to come in. Now he's gone. Obviously, he has a little bit of a lead over Quenny, and is Flash already going to make a move on Jackal-Jack, because Jackal-Jack is on the full wet tires. That's a little bit not what he wanted to see. You can see that Fox is already wide, and Rainbow takes 2 positions on the restart. Meanwhile, Fox has lost at least 2, at least 4, at least 5 positions already. Flash gets a 3-second time penalty, and he's still stuck behind Jackal-Jack. Quenny, 0.2 of a second behind MDC. You can already see that there is a big difference in grip between these tires, and AM gets a big moment of oversteer coming out of turn number 7. Flash has already got past Jackal-Jack, and you can see that Rainbow is just behind him. Is it going to rain harder? I don't see it, and then he has another big moment, Jackal-Jack, and already Rainbow is in 5th. Quenny is just in 2nd. This safety car actually is a very good thing for Rainbow, but because he's just behind the lead group, which is just perfect for him. Kagan Süleymanoglu with Oxygen, they are fighting for 9th, I think, but I think we have a bigger fight here, because when he is just 0.3 of a second behind MDCO, and he tried to go alongside him, and he hit MDCO. That's allowed AM to take that 2nd place and maybe even fight for the win, because who knows, maybe he has that pace. Flash also is there. And you could have seen that when he has lost his, I think, left wing end plate. And yes, Jackal-Jack is also losing positions because it's not raining too hard now. And he's on full wet tires, and he's now in 7th. He has Flex's Marcy behind him. That's not the best decision taken by his team. Maybe he has made a mistake when changing the tires, when, you know, when telling his crew that you should actually take the inters. Maybe he's he has clicked the button twice. That's why he is on the wets. I don't know, but I know that he's now behind Kagan, Slemanoglu, and Oxygen. They are going 3 wide into turn 8. Someone has to bail out. Thankfully, no one had to. But yes, there was something really interesting. Now, when he goes really deep into turn 10, is that going to allow Flash maybe to attack for the lead? I don't think so. Also, AM doesn't really have to pace. Doesn't really have the pace to maybe catch NDCO in the front, at the front of the pack. But you can see that Rainbow is in 5th. He will take at least 10 points tonight. I think we can safely say that at the moment Rainbow is the champion without any doubt, because he'll only lose 15 points out of his championship lead, which will make it, what, 59 points at the moment, which isn't too much. Jackal Jack is down in 13th. And Fox is in 10th again, so he is on course for some points, but he is ahead of Tudor by half a second. Quenny, he is just behind AM, and AM, as I've said, he doesn't really have the pace to catch and overtake MDCO. He doesn't have the pace that, you know, when he had. And as we all know, there is a big difference in tires, as I've said earlier. So MDCO is in first. Also, AM told me that he feels a little bit more confident on a keyboard when driving in rain. He's obviously on his steering wheel, so maybe this is the case as well. Although we could have seen here, there is a big fight now really happening for the 3rd place, because now you could have seen that Flash tried to go around the outside there, but he couldn't, so he was pushed wide by Hueni, and they are still fighting. And also, that blocked Rainbow a bit. That's allowed Fire to catch up to them. Really good stuff. Also, Sky Kartoffel going alongside Tudor for 11th, but this didn't happen. Now, AM half a second behind MDCO, so maybe he has found some pace right now. And Flash goes ahead of Hueni, and he spun him round. And that means that Hueni unfortunately loses a lot of places. Rainbow is now up into 4th, and Fire is in 5th. Hueni has retired from the session, unfortunately. That is really unfortunate from him. Fox is in 9th at the moment. I'm looking at him because, well, I'm rooting for him to get his first points of the season. Obviously, Tudor is now in 10th. And Sky Kartoffel is in 11th. So yeah, Hueni is out of the race. Jackal Jack finally came into the pit lane and changed onto intermediate tires. So he has lost a lot of time, unfortunately, thanks to this strategical mistake. But now, AM 7/10ths of a second behind MDCO. Flash is 6/10ths of a second behind AM, and Rainbow is still fighting for the podium. We can see a big fight between McLaren and Williams, arguably two of the best teams this season. And it's a really interesting fight between them. Although Rainbow, he said that he lacks some speed on this track. Remember, he didn't really practice before this race, and well, they all had, what, 2 weeks to do so, and he's still there in the top 4. Remember that Rainbow started from way down, from 14th place, I think. AM, he is 3/10ths of a second behind MDCO, so MDCO must have made a mistake through the final chicane, because he's now just on his rear wing. So maybe AM is going to make a move and create a big sandwich, a double Williams sandwich, effectively. Williams-McLaren sandwich, call it whatever you want, but basically he will take the lead and his teammate will be in 4th with 2 Williams drivers between them. Fox gets a 3-second time penalty, unfortunately, but he's still in 9th. And MDCO, I think he ran a touch wide in turn 8, which allows AM to close down on him. He's very close now, but he's not going to make a move into turn 10. And MDCO runs wide there. He will have the speed on the straight, but there was a contact between them. That, unfortunately, slows down AM, and that allows Flash to maybe come closer, maybe have a thought of an attack on AM, but he doesn't do that. He doesn't overtake AM. AM gets a time penalty, unfortunately, again, but has a really good exit on the start-finish straight, so maybe a move into turn 1. Also, Rainbow tried to think of a move into turn 1 on Flash, but he couldn't do that, and they have Fire just behind them. We have Flex's Marcy and Kagan Suleimanoglu fighting through turn 2, and still with a bit of a contact, but still going well. No crash there, just a small part of wheel banging, and Flex's goes really wide, and he still doesn't allow Kagan to go through, although you can see that Kagan is way faster, and there has been a contact, there has been a crash. Flex's goes wide, Kagan goes round actually, and he loses a lot of places, and he's out of the race because, well, he is not happy with what Flex's Marcy did there. I think we see a little bit more raindrops than we've seen earlier, but maybe that's only my feeling. AM is still 0.2 of a second behind MDCO, and now he isn't slowed down by him on the exit, so maybe we'll see some move, a move there. Fox is in 8th after Kagan is out of the after Kagan retired from the race, so maybe first points for the Czech Renault driver are coming. Hopefully they are. Meanwhile, AM just 0.2 of a second behind MDCO. I think he is going to make a move into turn 1, but he will have to go round the outside, which is incredibly tough here. Oxygen gets a 3-second time penalty, and you can see he's going side by side with MDCO, and he is going to take the lead into turn 2, although Flash gets a great run out of turn 2, but he is blocked by AM, and that allows MDCO to maybe come back, but they both touch, they both run wide in the chicane, and that allows AM to take the lead. And that also allows Flash to take second place. And we have Rainbow in 4th, and he's still trying to make a move on MDCO, but he couldn't, so that allows Fire to take that 4th place. This is fantastic! Oh my god, this is fantastic! As Murray Walker obviously said, I think in Suzuka 1989, we didn't see any crash there between teammates, but we've seen a great fight, and you can see that Flash tries to overtake AM round the outside into turn 10. He will have some more speed out of this corner because he had more place to actually drive away. He had some more space to even accelerate, and he takes the lead at the moment, but I still feel that AM has something in him. He has the speed, he has the possibility to take the first place from Flash, although Flash will try to cover the inside into turn 1, and that allows him to stay in the lead. AMDCO is down in 3rd. No way for him to take the championship to take the championship fight on all the way to the next week, because he's down in 3rd, and that's really bad news for him. And Rainbow can now cruise. I mean, Rainbow can really crash now even, and he will still be the champion because MDCO needs the win tonight. This is what he needs. This is the most important thing for him, and right now he's in 3rd, and he's closer to 4th than to 2nd, which is even worse for him. AM can even, you know, let Flash drive away because he will still take a podium. He will still be there, and MDCO will still be in 3rd, which, as I've said, will basically rule him out of the championship fight. Still 9 laps to go. Well, 8 laps to go as we come round the start-finish straight. So it's still a long way to go. A long way, quite a long way. I think it's not the longest way. Meanwhile, AM ran horribly wide there. Gets a 3-second time penalty. And he needs to see, he needs to look into his mirrors because he has MDCO just behind them and behind him, and he has Fire and Rainbow for, yeah, he has them just, you know, as a better, I'd say as a better, I don't know what I wanted to say. Basically, just to add something to the equation. He will have 3 drivers just behind him. Fire gets a 3-second time penalty. Meanwhile, Fox, he's actually 0.7 of a second behind Flex's Marcy. Yes, he gets a time penalty now, but he is actually going really well on course for the first points of the season, but he's still quite far away from them. Rainbow, 0.5 second between him and Fire, and also Fire is just 0.5 second behind MDCO, which as we all know, it's not the newest thing, because it's happened like a few times already tonight. But, well, that allows some fights to happen. I agree, it's not, the race is still tense, but is it exciting? I don't know, but I know what. I know that the Drivers' Champion is going to be crowned tonight, unless something incredible happens. Fire tried to go down the inside of MDCO, but he couldn't. MDCO, remember, he is on 20-lap-old intermediate tires, while everyone else is on 12-lap-old inters, which makes him even slower. He's already a second behind AM. As I've said, MDCO needs a win tonight, and right now he's closer to 4th place than to 2nd, which basically means that he will lose the championship fight tonight. But there are still 6.5 laps to go. Still, we can't say that everything is over. MDCO went wide in turn 8 and 9. He's lost 0.8 of a second to AM. AM is actually 2.2 seconds behind Flash. As I've said earlier, maybe AM doesn't have the best pace in the West, but at the moment, if Flash is going to win this race with a big margin, that means that MDCO, even if he has less penalties, he will still be 3rd. Fire, he is in 4th. He is 4/10 of a second behind MDCO, but I don't know if he's going to make a move on MDCO. He's still trying to do so, but he's too far behind to actually make it stick. Although now we can see that MDCO ran a little bit wide into turn 1, but that was only a little bit wide. So nothing major happened here. 6 laps to go. 6 laps maybe until Rainbow becomes the champion. Becomes the champion only after turn rounds, and we will still have 2 races to go, but that's later on. Fire 3/10. Well, now Fire is actually just ahead of Rainbow, but you know, turn 8, it's not an overtaking spot, and you can see that now Fire runs wide, gets another 3-second time penalty. I think Fire has a lot of these at the moment. Rainbow is just behind him, so maybe a move into turn 10, that's an overtaking spot, but Fire runs wide, and the Rainbow tried to go down the inside, tried to find that gap, but he couldn't. He's still behind Fire, although maybe he's going to tuck in his slipstream, maybe he's going to make a move on him into the final chicane. I think he's not, he's actually just lift, and he still stays in 5th. 5 laps to go. Flash, I think Flash is going to win this race, but AM is on course for 3rd place, because MDCO now is on really old intermediate tires, and whatever he does, he's still slower than everyone else around him. The only thing is that he's still in 3rd, which is really good for him. I mean, he shows that he's good on those old tires, but on the other hand, he just really can't make up the difference between him and the AM. As I've said, 4.5 laps to go, and Rainbow is still close to Fire, but he's not making a move there. There is a fight for the final point as well between Tudor and Malkin. Remember, Tudor actually was out of the race after an internet connection issue, I believe, thrown him out of the race. He came back, and he's in 10th. Meanwhile, I've lost the fight between Fire, although I maybe have not lost it, because again, Fire round the outside. He's still ahead of Rainbow, but Rainbow has better speed. He is side by side with Rainbow. Actually, Fire is now quicker down the straight, and he brakes later. He stays in P4, and Rainbow is down in 5th. Still 4 laps to go. Still a lot of things can happen. MDCO is now 2 seconds behind AM, which means that, well, yeah, he doesn't have the pace now, does he? He doesn't have a lot of pace, and, well, he doesn't have pace maybe at all. Fire, 0.3 of a second behind MDCO. That's really close now. And Rainbow is actually very close as well. So, you know, we can see some something happening very shortly. Rainbow is also close, so maybe let's see from the onboard camera with him. Maybe we will see something into turn 8. As I've said earlier, this is not an overtaking spot, so I am not surprised that we haven't seen anything here. But maybe into turn 10, is Rainbow going to make a move there? Once again, he shows himself there in the mirrors. He goes down the inside, but Fire, he's just great around the outside here. And he has a better traction. He has better top speed. He's still in 4th. And Rainbow is in 5th. Although he will try to retake this place. You know, there is a small difference between them on the straight. But that's that's nothing really. Fire maybe is going to make a move on MDCO. 3 laps to go. Flash is going to win that race. AM is going to be 2nd. But who is going to be 3rd? So we have 3 laps to see who will take that 3rd place. We have 3 laps to see if Rainbow is going to become the champion. I think, well, with all the things that have happened this race, he is going to be the champion. And now he's going to make a move on Fire, maybe into turn 6. But he needs to go around the outside there. He will have the inside in 7. But he goes a little bit wide. He has the inside now. Jackal-Jack gets a 5-second time penalty for cutting corners. But that's not important now. Rainbow, is he going to take 4th place into turn 8? Yes, he does. But I think he's going now. He's not going wide. So he's now up into 4th. He is ahead of Fire. But is he going to catch MDCO? I think AM also made a big mistake because he's now 5 seconds behind Flash and only 1.5 seconds ahead of MDCO. But that's not important now. Rainbow is in 4th. Malkian gets a 3-second time penalty. He still sits in 11th and really can't overtake Tudor, although he tries his best. I am sure about that. I am absolutely sure. 2 laps to go in the Canadian Grand Prix. 5 seconds between AM and Flash. Flash is really certain that will win this race. AM in 2nd. This is also pretty much done. But is MDCO going to be on the podium, or is it going to be Rainbow? 7 tenths between them, and Rainbow has some pace advantage. MDCO doesn't have any pace advantage over anyone at the moment. He is really slow on those used intermediate tires. You can see now this rain has basically gone. There are some raindrops, but it's not coming. I think that AM has made another mistake because he's lost some time. You can see that Rainbow is also sliding around a lot on the last lap, but he's still just behind MDCO, and I think he's going to make a move on him. MDCO runs wide. Rainbow also ran a little bit wide, but he's still there. There is a contact between them, but he has better speed. MDCO tried to maybe run him wide there, but he couldn't. So there is still a side by side. Is it going to be MDCO, or is it going to be Rainbow who will take this 3rd place into the chicane? And it's MDCO, and it's Rainbow, I'm sorry, who just bails out of it. But now MDCO just has a little bit of... Oh, there's a big crash between them. What has MDCO done here? They are going to crash, I think, again. Who has lost some bit of his front wing? I think they both have lost that. So they have both lost their front wing bits. What happened there? I don't know. But I know that Fire is going to fight for that 3rd place as well once again. Final lap of the race. Fire is in the lead. AM is in 2nd. And who will be 3rd? I still don't know. I know that MDCO made a mistake on that start-finish straight. I think he has cracked under pressure from Rainbow, and he's still in 3rd somehow. But that was a weird, at least weird, crash between these two. They've had a fair share of moments during this season, but what happened there, I don't know. I don't know also how many penalties does Flex's Mossy have, but we will see in a second. Fire just drives clearly around the outside of Rainbow, I'm sorry, and Fire now will try to overtake MDCO. I think he has it will be easy for him around the final corner. Flash wins the race. AM is in second, though. Is he going to be second after these penalties are applied? We are going to see who will be third, though. Is it Fire? Is it MDCO? It's Rainbow up into second, and AM in third. MDCO fourth. Flex's Marcy is in fifth. No, it's Sky Kartoffel in fifth. Flex's Marcy sixth. Fire seventh. Fox in Fire, it's in eighth. Fox is in ninth. Jackal Malkin. It's Malkin in 10th. Jackal Jack in 11th. Tudor in 12th. So Fox scores his first points of the season. And Tudor, why is he... Okay, he's had a puncture. Something happened there as well. Well, he's actually on 26 lap old intermediate tires. That's why he's still there. Leto in 13th. That's it. And the most important thing is that Rainbow takes the championship. Actually, he's finished second tonight, which is just a great drive. Flash has demolished the field, but it's the moment for celebration for Rainbow. Whatever happens, he is going to be the champion of this season. He will actually extend his lead over MDCO right now all the way up to 80 points. Wow, 80 points. And we still have 2 rounds left in this championship. Just wow. But also, what has Flash done? What has AM done? I mean, he's had some penalties, quite a lot of them, but he's still on the podium. Wow. Just wow. I mean, I'm lost for words, as you can hear. Let's see the results then. It's Flash ahead of Rainbow. AM actually had 12 seconds on penalties, and MDCO had only 6 of those. Sky Kartoffel in 5th, and he drove a clean race. No penalties from him. Plexus Marcy only had 6 seconds of those. He's in 6th. And Oxygen is in 7th. I think he had 11 points of those. Okay. Fire had 15 seconds of penalties. He's in 8th. Fox had 12, but he's in 9th. First points of the season. Skwiele, as would Czechs say. Skwiele means, I think, fantastic, something like that. Malkin in 10th, so he gets the final point of the season, of this race. Jackal Jack 11th, Tudor 12th, Leto 13th, Kagan Suleymanoglu. Well, Leto also, just remember that he didn't drive this race all the way to the end. Kagan Suleymanoglu, Hueni, and Black Panther out of the race. Remember that Black Panther also gets a fastest lap of the race. Wow! That was an interesting race. I know I say that a lot, but that was really tense. Even though it was raining, even though I've said that, you know, wet races, because they don't have the DRS, you know, there is not so much action going on. They are a bit of a psychological battle, as I quoted AM earlier on, but he was really he was actually right, and you know, a lot of psychological battle happened there. And this was a really interesting psychological battle, and you know, I don't know how to describe this race, but the safety car really changed it, because you know, before the safety car there was like what? There were 3 drivers fighting for the championship. I don't know, something like that. But for the win. I'm sorry, not for the championship, for the win, obviously. But now, after the safety car, there was constantly this battle between the top 5. But that's not the moment I am going to talk about. I mean, that's not the moment I'm talking about this race. This is the moment I'm thanking you, everyone, for joining me once again. That was round 10, obviously, of the season. And I just hope you will come back to us next week. At the same time, obviously. And well, we have another great race next week, hopefully another great race, because we will be in Austria. And Red Bull Ring always delivers, doesn't it? So basically, I hope we will have a great race at Red Bull Ring next week, on May 31st. And yeah, so that's it for tonight. Remember that Rainbow is the champion. And big congrats to him. Also, big thanks to Hype Energy and Elgato Gaming for providing us, for basically making this stream possible. And, well, thank you for joining me. I think you also I hope you've all enjoyed this race as much as I did. I hope I wasn't disturbing too much. And yeah, thank you very much for joining me once again. Thank you, Elgato. Thank you, Hype Energy, for making this stream possible. Thank you, Canada. And we will go to Austria next week. And, well, Rainbow is already the champion, but he still can score some points, score some wins. Is he going to do that? I hope. We will all find out next week. Thank you once again for coming. Julio Massa. That was me. It was a pleasure to be there. I'm out. Thank you once again. And good night.